Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Give Me the Mic. We have an exciting new guest today. I'll be accompanied with our Bishop in Arms, Mr. Zachary Mitchell, and we'll be talking about some law and order. Our guest today is a prominent attorney, up and coming attorney, practicing civil rights law, and we
So
know
what we're gonna do is go to our
these times,
commercial.
it is a very important skill set, very important that we have advocates on our side, and we'll be talking about the opportunities and the challenges in 2025. And with that being said, we're going to roll it and we're going to get into our next edition of Gimme the Mic.
Thank you so much for inviting me out, girl. I've been so stressed.
Girl, you are so welcome. But listen, who did your hair?
Oh, all dolled up.
What is that?
All Dolled Up is a series of stores and salons all throughout South Florida. I get my hair silked out every month. I can do that because I'm part of the Texture Club.
Girl, well, I need to get to All Dolled Up and sign up for this texture club. You look amazing.
And cheers to that. A beautiful journey. I've always dreamed of an exciting, passion-filled career in the beauty industry. When enrolled in Cosmos School, it was amazing. After all, beauty was my thing, but I knew it was just the beginning. Next, I needed to find a salon home that was going to help me take it up a notch. aducareer.com showed me the way. Teamwork, branding development, coaching, product knowledge, and more. The apprentice training program changed my life. Find out more about the amazing possibilities.
Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! My body! My choice! My body! My
Today in solidarity with Tamika Palmer's family, with Breonna Taylor's family, and with all the other families here. And I'm here to stand with this family.
We have called on the Department of Justice, and we stand with this community as we hope that the Department of Justice will continue their conversations with us and get involved.
94 shots, and they won't release their name. When does 94 shots not shock your conscience? You see, you can't be judge, jury, executioner, and the victim. Power to the people. So I stand here on behalf of the legal team to tell you that we will not stop.
Oh, wow. Some powerful stuff. So, again, welcome back to Give Me the Mic. Uncle Zach, give me, this is one of those projects that you really stuck your foot in it and said, let's get it, let's make it happen. And I know everything happens for a reason. And from the birth of this show, it's always been about empowering, motivating, and cultivating the future of our country and of our industries. So talk us through how we got here today with our guests and your relationship with her.
Well, first, before we start, we got to give glory to God and set the text to tee it up, right? So we're talking about Romans 13. And Romans 13 tells us that the Lord is responsible for government, judicial systems, and he tells us to be a good citizen, to always render obedience to higher authority. And he's responsible for checking the higher authority. So in Matthew 23:23, he tells us we should all about judgment, mercy, and faith. And this is what our guest does. She's all about justice. And I asked you that question at the beginning on the onset of the show. It means different things to different people and get in different contexts, because legal justice is totally different than the justice that we have in the spiritual sense, because it's no longer eye for an eye. It's about the justice that's imputed by the Lord, because there's no way we're going to ever have the type of justice that we ever see fit that's due to us. But I'm going to let you introduce, well, I'll introduce Elizabeth Paige White. I came to know her through her mother when she was just a little girl. Yeah. And we have so many connections. She went to college with your cousin, Elise. She went to
Oh wow.
Temple. Elise was working on her master's degree at Temple
Hmm.
from 2009 to 2013, and Paige was there working on her baccalaureate degree. Now, I told you that she graduated as a Gator. Now, I'm a University of Georgia type person, and here we got
Oh
a
boy.
Florida State. We might have a problem here, but hopefully,
I think we have problems.
but we're gonna definitely be respectful
That's right.
because we begging you.
That's right. That's right. Your Uncle Zach. I have to be.
But God bless her, she's smart as a whip. She can't get away from it because her mother was the chancellor, the president of North Carolina Central University. She used to work in the
Wow.
Obama administration at the under the Secretary of Education. So
Wow.
she's very astute. She's very savvy in what she does, and she's intelligent. And oh my God, it'll go on and on and on. I feel like a proud doting uncle. I
Mhm.
just do. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna turn it on to you because
Man.
you two legal beagles. That's what you guys do is law. So y'all
Yeah.
can talk about the justice system and whatever Paige feels confident or comfortable doing, she can lead it. We're gonna set you
Yeah.
out, Paige, and just give us what you feel about the current system as it is today.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, Paige, if you could again, so put it in an elevator pitch format for us. Um 30 60 seconds. Who is Elizabeth Paige White?
uh, Elizabeth Paige White is a fighter, is an activist, is a voice for the voiceless in our community. I think I that my goal in my career and in my life is to make sure that I touch as many people as possible and really make an impact in a field and in a space that is not meant to give us justice. I think you said it earlier. The justice system is not legal justice is very different than what justice looks like to Black and Brown people. So I'm a fighter. I'm an advocate. I'm a daughter. My mother, like my uncle Zachary was saying, was also a servant leader and someone that believed in our community and that we are the most powerful people, and that when we invest in each other and love on each other and support and advocate for each other, that we all win. So that was more than a minute.
Wow. Yeah, no, no, I like it. I like it. Like, and following up, like, how did you get here? Like, what is the backstory? Like your mom at North Carolina Central, Zach, like, how'd you become an attorney?
So, what my mom would say is that we were in the kitchen arguing one day, and she just said, God dang it, Paige, you just need to become an attorney." And that was when it first started. I was like, you know what? You're right. She just knew that if I had a point that I was going to argue you down
Mhm.
about facts and evidence, and I want to know the rationale behind everything and what the backstory is and what the actual evidence is. Um, when I took my first law school class, that's when my first criminal law class, that's when I realized that this criminal justice system, this system of policing that we have right now, and that we criminalize people, was meant to enslave and oppress Black and Brown people. So that I was better served on the public defense side. So I went from law school to Harlem and was a public defender at the Neighborhood Defender Service of Harlem for several years. And then went down to DC at the Public Defender Service for a couple years. And then I met Ben Crump. I was sitting outside of PDS on the phone. I had seen, hey, there you go. That's your cue,
Yeah, yeah,
That's your cue, brother.
yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
but I just connected with him and told him I just want to grab coffee with you. And those conversations led to him offering me a position with his firm. And when Attorney Crump offers you a job, you
You
take
go.
right. And so from there, I was really able to see how the civil system, because I had been in the criminal system, how the civil system really helps, or how we can work in that system to support and advocate for Black and Brown folks. Because these large cases that you see, the Flint water crisis, talk about the all the mass tort cases, the hair relaxer litigation. People who are being affected are people who look like us.
Right.
Civil system is a way to get justice for multiple people, whereas criminal, it's really individuals.
Right.
And so through that, I came to own my own firm, which is where I married the two. Thank you. But where I
Big
married,
deal right there.
yeah,
Big deal.
it is a time, but where I really marry the two because as we know, when we don't see a police shooting, those arrests become criminal cases.
Right.
And then that body camera, is never seen by the public and someone gets a record and what have you. So there's a lot of overlap between the two
Right,
that,
Paige, let's take this as if I'm a third grader. Like, what is the difference between a civil case for, say, police brutality and a criminal case? Because I think a lot of us, just the layman person would be like, you hurt, harmed, and killed our people. We want to see you go to jail.
right.
So, can you break down the differences in the civil issue and the criminal issue for our audience?
Yes. Okay. So let's say with the George Floyd case, or let me back up. If a police officer murders someone, a criminal case would look like the prosecutor's office, the state, or for us, it's the District of Columbia, bringing a case against that individual officer or officers who committed and assisted in committing the killing. Very few times does that ever happen because the decision making is by the prosecutor's office, who generally works hand in hand with the police department every day to prove their cases. And so very rarely do we see criminal charges being brought against officers and any conviction happening. George Floyd was different, where Derek Chauvin was convicted.
Right.
Whereas on the other hand, the civil case is where the family or the estate of that person who died is suing that officer. And really, it would be the municipality, the city, for that officer killing their family member. And so that's a way for us essentially to be able to bring a case against anyone, because that's the only thing that's within a family's control.
Right. And what does justice look like in that case? So, for instance, if you kill my husband, how do I get justice in the civil? Is that do I sue them for $1 million, or I sue them to get the police officer fired? How does that, like, what does it look like? Is it monetary?
So most of the times it's going to be monetary relief, but you can always ask for injunctive relief, which are things like reforms and differences, very rare differences in the policing. Again, very rarely does that actually happen. And then when it does happen, it's in the form of consent decrees, which is essentially saying, we promise that we're going to do this. And then if they don't do it, enforcing that is also very difficult. And so many times it is a monetary settlement. But again, very few cases there's all these laws preventing these cases from actually moving forward and being successful. And so
I ran into so I'm in my third year of law school now. I'm at Benjamin L. Crump College of Law.
hey,
So trying to be the first Chi Theta brother to graduate from Benjamin L. Crump College of Law, which I will be in December. But I'm in moot court, and we did a criminal procedure um, fact pattern or argument over qualified immunity, and the qualified immunity hurdle is the civil remedy to you got to get over to sue these officers, and a lot of these officers, a lot of these officials are protected
That's
from
right.
lawsuits because of qualified immunity.
That's right.
So So can you touch on kind of like how you guys overcome being able to sue these people? Because I'm a believer in capitalism. If you want to hit them and make them make a change, hit them in the pocket.
That's right. That's right. And so that is what we're seeing is that very very few times are people going to make changes unless they have to. It costs money, it costs resources, and they have to actually care. And so the only times when people seem to care is when they're losing money and when it costs them something. And so getting these municipalities to pay for what their officers do is a powerful tool in making change. On the other hand, as you said, there is qualified immunity, which essentially means that if an officer was acting reasonably, then the result, no matter if it's wrong, that you cannot be held liable for that, and the
Right.
officer and the state cannot be held liable for that. And it is a high standard because the reasonableness comes into account about what that officer thought at that time.
Right.
Many times we'll see how many times have we seen an officer's write up of what happened immediately
Yeah, the probable
after,
cause.
right, and then we'll see the body worn camera and it's something completely different. And so that is a hurdle that civil rights attorneys have to get over, and it is extremely difficult.
So
Hey,
let's get
Bailey,
into
let me jump in for a minute.
okay.
You made a very nuanced statement that's beautiful. I love your mind. You have a beautiful mind. And you said, this is the neoclassical. I'm reframing what you said. This is the neoclassical enslavement of us.
That's right.
And you hit on the 13th Amendment. You didn't hit it particularly, but that's exactly what you said. Can you tell our people now, this is you saying, look, don't throw yourself into involuntary servitude, not knowing this stuff is baiting you. I have a situation when I talk to some of my relatives. I said, they are baiting you. And when you make bad decisions, that's deliberate in terms of how the system deals with you versus someone else. Talk about that, Paige.
That's right. And so it's difficult because education now becomes so important because we cannot afford to make mistakes.
Yes.
A lot of what I'm seeing and what I think we're seeing nationally are juveniles and kids getting involved in things. That's typically how people enter and stay in the criminal justice system. They start as kids. What we know and what I've seen through my own experience growing up in a town that was half white, half black, is that I've seen white teenagers be arrested for the same things that black folks are being arrested for, but because of who they know or because of what their family does, the ramifications are much more different. And so we don't have that luxury of doing that. And so what is so important is not just as impressing upon people, this is a system that is meant to keep you in it. It is meant to make sure that you keep coming back over and over and over again. Only up until recently was the federal government able to ask you, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Why are we we're putting bars to employment, to healthcare, to all these necessities that we need to live, and telling everybody that they have to live the same way, right? When we know that the consequences are not the same. So education is so important about what this actually looks like, what sentences there are for certain crimes. I know that in DC, carjacking is very big, especially for young folks. Very few people know that there is a 15-year mandatory minimum for armed carjacking. It is more than if you pistol whip somebody or shoot at somebody. And so I think that kids have to know that, and people just have to know that.
Right. So great question, Uncle Zach. On the technology front, I want to take a step back. We talked about the body worn camera, so I'm all about technology, and on the tech side of it, like, so what innovations are you seeing from a civil rights protections standpoint is really helping us get it done as far as protecting the rights of our citizens? You can speak to body worn camera, and Uncle Zach was talking about e-discovery opportunities of different forms of technology being used.
I mean, so body worn camera has been huge. Body worn camera, surveillance camera, we are all under surveillance at all times. When you walk out on the street, there are police cameras on several light poles. You are always being watched. And so, in many ways, that has been helpful for us as, like I said, we will see and hear an officer's narrative of what happened and actually be able to see the evidence that directly contradicts that. So I think that that has been helpful in certain ways. I think that at that same time, Rodney King was televised. And so this is not something new to us.
Right.
And we continue to see the rate of police killings only increase. And so it's helpful to a point, but we're not actually seeing the results of what you think mass dissemination of
Right.
information would yield.
So, so with that being said, like, from the outside, it seems like there's an attack on civil rights litigation, among other
Absolutely.
things in the diversity sphere. Seems like there's an attack on civil litigation, an attack on civil rights litigation. Um, like, could you speak to, like, what that looks like on your end, making your job harder? What that looks like getting a case into the court? Like, how does that look like to us with administration looking at it from that standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. So Donald Trump, so first of all, he has discussed very openly the desire to have absolute immunity for police officers. So that means that the bar that we already have of qualified immunity would be trumped by absolute immunity, giving them the right to do whatever without recourse. And
Oh,
so there
wow.
would not be police brutality cases. I think that police are already so emboldened. I'd be extremely fearful to see what happens with that. So there's that possibility lingering out there that is terrifying. And so I think that in the now, police departments and cities are much less likely to come to the table. And they'll say, no, let's fight this out because society is different. The courts are talking about this differently. Um,
Does
on
he have? Do you feel he has the right to do that, or is that, and one of the questions is: our Supreme Court going to step in and pump the brakes on that type of rhetoric?
it is confusing to know what the Supreme Court is going to do because we know that we have very clear supporters of Donald Trump on the Supreme Court, but their decision in upholding birthright citizenship, as well as a number of other cases involving immigration recently, has me thinking that they may actually have a line that they're saying, okay, I don't really know if we gonna let him cross this line. But again, a lot of these folks can be bought. Clarence Thomas being one of them, and so
Oh, don't get on my guy like that. I like Clarence.
I am just appalled every day, and so I'm not. Who knows? But
Right,
the hope would be that they would draw the line there.
right.
But when it comes to police, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that for
Where the
those
line's gonna be?
justices that's high on their list of protections.
Wow. So, Florida Supreme Court just passed a law as well about the right to record, where they now are restricting the public's right to record in the field where these activities are taking place. I think now the police have the lawful right to people to remove people from scenes, and they can't record.
That's right.
So it does seem like there's a encroachment of um, us protecting ourselves with technology and camera and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Do you do
They
you
want to
think
be able to
by
control.
design? Is that by design in your eyes?
Absolutely. I think that it goes hand in hand with, how they're making it illegal for you to bring food and water to voters who are waiting in line. They don't make sense Why you would not be able to record what is happening makes absolutely no sense and is only there for the sole purpose of making sure that what's being done is not being recorded and disseminated.
Right.
I think that's defensible though, because if you have the right to record me, I have the right to record you, and that's the First Amendment freedom of speech. So if a guy has a cam, a dash cam or whatever, you have to be able to present a case that's counter to that. So I'm presenting you with my version. So
Right.
a smart lawyer like Elizabeth Page would say, "Oh, that's fluky. You're
Right.
telling me you're
Right.
You
going to
should be able
weigh
to
the
record.
balances of justice because you are a police officer and I don't have the right to defend myself against you with an alternate conversation with my camera." That's
Right.
not going to work. So I
That's
think
right.
that's defensible. It just
Yeah.
takes a lot of time and someone with the insight that you have and intelligence. Like you said, that's why it's so important that you have lawyers well equipped like yourself. I was impressed that you went into the criminal law because some people say that's no money in that. Why would you do that? Most people go to civil law because I could go downtown to get $10,000 in a
Right.
month.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Talk to that, Elizabeth, because again, you went to in Florida is not a secret. University of Florida makes some rock stars. Like that program is amazing. That law school is amazing. How did how did you run away from the money? It seemed like you had to say, I don't want the money. I want to do this for a cause. And like, how did you make that decision or come to that revelation that you found something to fight for?
That's why I went to law school. That's why I went to law school. Being a public defender was what I wanted to do. I knew that I knew going in that I wasn't going to make any money. I knew going in that I wasn't going to be, a billboard lawyer or a big time lawyer. I knew that I was going to be in the courtroom, that I was going to be able to fight for clients, and I was going to be able to interrupt this system that I think is enslaving people in empty courtrooms every day with bad lawyers. And so that was always my goal. And I was lucky enough to be raised by parents that allowed me the flexibility and the ability to say, you do and go chase after exactly what you want. And so me coming to own my own firm is just a complete different path that I didn't know that I was going to get to at all and did not plan to be on. I thought I was going to be a public defender forever, and I was extremely happy doing it.
we can't hear you.
I was going to say I did a internship this semester at the Broward County Law Office of the Public Defender. Also,
Nice.
amazing experience under some great leadership under there with Brother Gordon Weeks.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal experience. I mean, you really heard the conversation in every meeting. It was like we are zealous advocates for the people that don't have a voice. But still, that's competing against capitalism.
That's right.
It's
That's
competing
right.
against capitalism.
That's right. And so I don't fault anybody. I meet lawyers all the time who are asking me, how can I get involved? How can I get involved? Because I'm at a big firm, and I'm at a big firm because I have student loan debt, and because I have to put I'm supporting my family because I didn't grow up with a stable lifestyle, and I want that now. Whatever your reason is, I get that 100%. But
So
I get
that's a good question because one of my friends last week said the same thing. He's a white bankruptcy attorney, older guy,
Mhm.
and so frustrated with the judicial, what's happening in our country right now. And he said the same thing. He's like, I have to do something. I told my wife this. Like, this guy was telling me, he's like, he has to do something. What do you think a person can do right now to start contributing to what's happening to create equity and justice in our spaces?
So I think that people can contribute at all levels. So I'm always going to start with getting involved with your grassroots community organizations in your community. So in DC, we have Harriet's Wildest Dreams. We have the DC Alliance Against Racist Policing. Whatever it is, getting involved and putting your ear to the ground about what's happening in your community and what it needs. If you are willing to put your body out there to protest and to stand in solidarity with protesters, I encourage that. If you want to donate, Until Freedom is like one of my favorite organizations. Donate to people that are putting their bodies out there, that are doing the work. If whether we're talking about education, going to these schools and talking to these kids, especially because this is where it starts, about what happens to us specifically, not just the mom dad kind of conversation, but a real conversation about how your life looks if you go down this path. Know your rights workshops, going to churches, different tabling events, just sitting down and talking to people, getting involved with your local bar's pro bono center. If you're an attorney, they always do expungement workshops or immigration workshops, especially now. Immigration is huge. Any support, and there are experts there that will tell you everything that you need. You are just helping out. So
Paige, we're on the bottom side of this thing, and we would love to have a follow up, if you will, because you have a lot of expertise and talent. But I want you to have the last minute to talk about how to create more mini me's. I want more mini Pages out there. I want more mini Baileys out there, because the legal system is basically going to be the thing that changed our life, just like with Thurgood Marshall. He changed the life of all of us, whether we know it with the Brown versus Topeka Board of Education, that changed our lives in 1954. So tell us, motivate our clients and inspire them, cultivate the gifts on how they can be not so much a mini Page, because there's only one Page. God anointed you to be that. But tell us how we can go about getting more people like you.
I say all the time, if you see a good fight, get in it. John Lewis talks about getting in good trouble. Now is the time. There are folks out here doing the work. It feels so bleak right now and so hopeless. It is not. And we are powerful, and there is power in community, and they have always been afraid of that. And so get involved with your community, ask questions, go to the DC Bars Pro Bono Center. And also doing all of that work, taking care of yourself, breathing, realizing that we have seen worse times before. Yes. Our people have seen and endured worse times before. We can do this, but we cannot do this without each other and all of us doing the work.
Thank you. Paige, I want to do one thing. I normally do it. Would he give me 30 seconds? So you're going to say, I'm going to give you a statement, and you're going to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. It's not going to be bad.
Okay.
All right. So fire style, don't think about it. American Dream.
Obama.
Ooh. Supreme Court.
Kentanji.
Legacy.
My mom.
Microphone.
Me.
Artificial intelligence.
ChatGPT.
Thank you, Zach Mitchell, Paige, for an amazing time. And thank you for carrying the mic. And hopefully that we motivate, inspire, and cultivate future leaders in this country.
Thank you.
Thank you.